This is Kelso Sturgeon. Thank you very much for attending another day, an information-packed day at my College of Advanced Sports Handicapping. The menu on this video is long, so let's just jump right in and get with it. First of all, this video is for Thursday and Friday. On this report, I will be releasing my free college selection for Saturday. And a reminder that I'll be back here on Saturday morning with a complete update on the Saturday college football games, right back on Sunday morning with an update on the NFL games. Now, as I noted, giving out another free winner on this report, and a reminder, last week we got a rather easy win with our free winner here, the Oklahoma Sooners over the Texas Longhorns, actually a blowout play. I hope you watched the video and got on board and got the money with Oklahoma. I also want you to make it a point to please look at the new power ratings, especially the college ones, on this website. I've made some big changes in not only in numbers but in the evaluation of teams, you know, from the ABC system. All very important in the process of handicapping. They are up to date, and I can assure you they're as accurate as any power ratings that you will ever look at. Now, I'm kicking off the week tonight with a 100-unit play on the San Diego State at Air Force game. Both these teams need to win. The circumstances heavily favor one, and you can get that game, this 100-unit play, nationally televised tonight, San Diego State at Air Force, on this website or toll-free at 1-800-755-2255. All major credit cards are accepted. Now, on Saturday, I'm releasing a rare 200-unit college blowout game. I found a team that has a 100% chance to win straight up and 95% chance to cover the number. When the line on this game came out, I thought it was a misprint. I talked to two or three big-time line makers. They said that was the number, and it's moved a little bit against us since the open, but not much. And I'm looking to take this modest favorite and win by 40 to 45 points. And I mean just that. I feel so strongly about this play that it's the first game of the season that I've guaranteed. I guarantee you, if for any reason this game does not cover the number, you will get all of my Syndicate Club plays. They're all 50 and 100 unit plays for the next month, absolutely free. Now, let's jump into a couple of issues that are related a little bit to intent and incentive. You know, we've reached a point in the season where teams are going to go one direction or the other. I've mentioned this in past videos, but now coaches are beginning to declare themselves, even though they might not be saying it in so many words. And you know, I've got a story on the website today that you need to read. It points out that Indiana, Colorado, and Boston College have all basically given up on the season, and they are playing for next year. I think I'll offer some insight into this. Be sure you read the story, but remember, when you bet games involving Indiana, Boston College, or Colorado, you got to be very careful in analyzing that betting line, because you know, if a team is trying to win but is using players that they just want to get experience for next season, there's a price to be paid for that. And you need to be aware of these teams. And by the way, I just listed these three teams, and once again, read the story on my column on the website. I just mentioned these three teams, but I guarantee you that there's 25 teams out there that are in the same mode. Now, also at this time of the season, it gets very serious about which teams can play for the national championship. And I realize this might hurt a few people's feelings, but I have broken this list down to 10 teams. I don't think there too many more there are too many more teams that have a chance to win the national championship. Michigan, for instance, is not in my 10-team list that I think can win it all. And for reasons, Kansas State undefeated is in that list. Houston has no chance whatsoever. But let's run down these the teams that have a chance to play for the national championship, and because of that are incentive driven, and I'm going to tell you why 2 of these 10 teams will play for all the money. Now the teams are, in alphabetical order, Alabama, Boise State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, LSU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Stanford, and Washington. Now, these are the 10 teams that I say can go the distance. Now, they have everything going for them. We'll get into that in just a second. But keep in mind that Alabama and LSU play, Oklahoma State play, Oregon and Stanford play. It's one of these things that anything can happen. But I have a strange feeling that the teams that get to the BCS championship game more than likely will have one loss. The possible exception would be Boise State, which is in an unusual situation. Now, Boise State is the most incentive-driven team in football, and in most cases you don't need to be too concerned about laying the big wood with them. They just, they've been winning their games in blowout fashion, and they only play their starters for the first 2.5 quarters, if that long. When it gets serious, they'll turn up the heat, and they can beat or should beat any team on the schedule. The 2 toughest spots are TCU and San Diego State. But Boise State has to run the table, and everybody else has to lose a game before Boise State will play for the national championship. So they are the most incentive-driven team in football. The other 9: Alabama, Boise State, Clemson, Georgia Tech, LSU, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Stanford, and Wisconsin. They're incentive-driven too, but possibly they could afford a loss and still get there. But keep in mind, when these teams play, they're going to show their best form. They're going to try to impress people who vote in the BCS polls. And when they play one another, such as Alabama and LSU and Oklahoma State, you can just bet that all hell will break loose on both sides, because both will fire their best shots. The betting line will be in play in almost all these games. So as we head into this weekend, we have teams that have basically given up. We have teams that are incentive driven and are going to fire their best shots. Now let's run down a couple of other things, and we'll get to the free game. For whatever it's worth to you, there are 24 homecoming games this weekend. A lot of people think that teams go all out to win before homecoming crowds. The data says otherwise. But homecoming is always an element that should be factored into your handicapping equation. Now, very interesting. There's been no steam plays other than totals for the last 2 days in college football, and the last few plays that came in and qualified as steam plays were all on underdogs. Let me tell you who they are. Here's where the players went, the bettors. Auburn plus the points over Florida, Michigan plus the points over Michigan State, Virginia plus the points over Georgia Tech, and in the NFL we had a play on the New York Jets over the 41. But all the plays in the colleges were on underdogs. Let me run them down again. The plays were Auburn, Michigan, and Virginia, and all over highly ranked teams, for whatever it's worth. Now, let's get to that free game. This week I'm releasing the Pittsburgh Panthers, minus the 6.5, by the way, down 0.5 point from yesterday, over Utah. And this is a circumstance play. Pittsburgh comes into this off a dreadful, terrible loss at Rutgers in its major bounce-back form. Utah has not been the same since it lost quarterback Jordan Wynn to a shoulder injury that will have him out for the entire season. In the last game that he played, Utah beat BYU in Provo 54-10. In the 2 games that junior college transfer John Hayes has played a major part in, they've lost. They got beat last week 35-14 at home by Arizona State. The week before at home 31-14 by Washington. Now these are 2 good opponents, but Utah has always been up to the task in the past. They have no quarterback, and that's really going to penalize them also. They're not protecting the ball. Hayes threw 3 interceptions last week in that loss to Arizona State. In the last 2 games, Utah has turned the ball over 9 times. Unusual for this team. All is not well in Salt Lake City, and my play today, or on Saturday, will be the Pittsburgh Panthers over the the Utah Utes. And last but not least, just a reminder, on Saturday, a guaranteed 200-unit college blowout play, 100% chance to win straight up, a 95% chance to cover the number. I think it's a 35 or 40-point winner. Do not miss it. It will be available on this website along with all other selections and at toll-free 1-800-755-225. Once again, I beg your pardon, 1-800-755-2255. Just keep in mind, I accept all major credit cards, all selections, again, available on this website and toll-free 1-800-755-2255. Thanks for watching. I'll be back here Saturday morning with a new report.